I have not done a YouTube live before, so I am not 100% sure if I am live. Tuned in from 30,000 feet. I must be seeing that people are commenting. Yay. All right, so welcome to episode 1 of the Collapse broadcast. Thank you for being here. This will be something I will be doing frequently because, well, this is different. This is not personal development. Hello, Noelia. This is not personal development. This is not self-help. This is not coaching. This is not a talk. It's an initiation. If you want warm resonance from these sessions, this is not your place. If you want to stop being deceived by your own voice, stay. Because today we are speaking about the voice of mimic is more dangerous than thought mimic. This is a Collapse broadcast, a live field that separates who heard it from who felt it. No teaching, no therapy, just law. And I'm not here to make you feel comfortable. I am not here to make you feel that it's all okay. I'm here to make you clear. The Collapse broadcast is a live transmission. I name what your body already knows, but your head keeps arguing with it. And if you've ever followed a voice and later realized it wasn't yours, that's mimic. This is not a masterclass. This is not motivation. This is a field event, a public collapse node. You receive these words, you will collapse. You will collapse the voice mimic. The Collapse broadcast does one thing. It exposes the mimic that has been running your life and business and relationships so you can stop bargaining with it. We have been programmed to live a lie, surrendering ourselves to higher selves, soul work, healing, journey, and the modern religion of personal development. For over 100 years, the industry has taught identity swapping, move from one version of yourself to the next, and which is just mimic wearing new clothes, new costumes. Collapse does something the industry never will. It deletes the scaffold. It's not about resonance. It's not about softness. It's not about kindness or being lovey-dovey-dovey. It deletes the scaffolding that is not you, not yours. Clearing mimic and interference so that your codex can root through your trilogy of being, your body, being, and planet, and that's what this is. So wealth, presence, health arrive as law, not as a lifetime of coaching, reframing beliefs, healing journey, permission seeking. Clear mimic, install Codex, and stop trading your life for explanations and start living your blueprint. For years, you've been taught to argue with thoughts, to polish your story, to seek permission through tone and social proof. That's the trick. Tone fools the body into obedience. Today, I will name how that happens and what changes when you remove it. If you feel raw during this broadcast, that's evidence. If you feel steadier, that's evidence too. So it's okay. because we will be deleting the scaffolding holding this mimic in place. And after this, I'll mention the vaults for those who want to, or who want enforcement. Because you collapse, you delete, then what? Then the next step, if you will, is enforcement. Living by law, your commands. And I can tell you one thing without a shadow of a doubt. One of the hardest thing you will ever do is issue your own laws to live by them. Issue your own laws so convictionally, so determinedly that they will and have no choice to be obeyed. That is the hardest thing, even with clients who have collapsed. They've collapsed identities, they've collapsed all forms of mimic on multiple layers. All the architecture of mimic completely collapsed. They live deleted of interference. That's the easy bit. The hard bit is issuing law, living by their command, issuing law. Knowing, trusting, believing, owning the right they have to live by their law. Why? Because we have been so deeply ingrained and programmed to live by laws put upon us, and dare we break them? This is not coaching. This is not personal development, and nothing I do fits into that category. Just enforcement. Thoughts lie, and the voice feels like truth. You've been taught to question your thoughts, to rewrite, reframe them, to replace a negative belief with a positive one, to say nicer sentence until the world complies, to say words that keep you belonging, to speak in a tone that keeps resonance. And still, no matter how many times you reframe, say it differently, think differently, nothing changes. Why? And this is the single thing that nobody speaks about. Hello, Juliet, Jen. This is the thing that no one speaks about. And this is the tragedy. Because your body doesn't obey thought, it obeys tone. Why? Because tone travels through what I call the trilogy of being. The body receives vibration. The being roots frequency. The planet amplifies it into the field. This is the trilogy of being. That means your tone is not just sound, it is a broadcast. The jaw, the chest, the diaphragm, these are transmitters. They're not just tools that we have to speak through. They are transmitters. And when mimic hides in your voice, the body doesn't pause to ask, is this logical? It just obeys the vibration. And once the body obeys, the field obeys. And that's what you get. Your body is the operating system of mimic. Until it's collapsed. Then your codex is the operating system which roots through your body. This is where every work on your mindset, every self-development, personal development, self-help program stops short. Why personal development, as we know, will never work like it promises to. They never went far enough because they were looking above the operating system. The body, your body, is the operating system. So what's operating? Mimic? Programming? Conditioning? Interference? Or your codex? Tone arrives as a vibration. The moment your throat shapes a cadence, the vibration roots straight into your limbic hardware, the part that feels danger, reward, belonging. Tone speaks to survival before reason gets a vote. And the autonomic loop answers first. The body reacts. Heart rate, breath pattern, facial microtension, jaw clench. These are automatic responses wired by repeated tone. The loop is faster than reasoning. And by the time your thought says, wait, the body has already moved. Fascia remembers as structure. Fascia, breath habits, posture, these are tissue patterns that encode tone into form. Speak the same mimic cadence for months and the body rewrites the map. Posture shifts, breathing shallows, throat tightens. The structural rewrite then becomes habit, and habit becomes your default law. And being roots that frequency. Whatever your tone carries, confidence, plea, scarcity, the being roots it out as frequency. Now here's the thing. Frequency is not private. It broadcasts. And then the planet, your planet, picks up the signal and matches it. Invitations, resistance, and consequences all arrive because the field heard your tone and treated it as law. So, a thought is a thought, and voice is a program. The body runs that program. And if you want different results, you don't edit the thinking layer, you change the program running inside the operating system. Collapse deletes the counterfeit program. Your Codex installs a new protocol that the body, the being, and the field obey no matter what. That's the deception. No guru, no mindset program, no coach, no mentor, no affirmation practice will ever tell you. Your voice has been the operating system all along, and your voice is being run by mimic. Every flinch, every softened word, every rise in pitch that begged for approval, begged for belonging, begged for validation, begged for familiarity, for resonance. That is what shaped your reality. Not the thought behind it. You didn't follow bad thoughts. You followed a voice that sounded like it knew. You trusted tone over truth. And mimic hides in that exact gap. The voice feels like command, so the body moves, even when that command is a lie. And this is why positive thinking never saved you, never changed anything. This is why self-talk collapses as soon as the room is silent. Because the voice in your mouth was never yours. It was mimic. And today, I'm not suggesting you think differently. I'm not asking you to think differently. I'm opening the system so you can see where the program runs. Collapse doesn't rewrite thought. Collapse deletes the mimic voice that pretended it was truth. So now that you know the body is the operating system, tone doesn't just live in you, it rents credibility in public. Tone becomes counterfeit wisdom, and entire industries obey the sound of authority instead of the sense of it. Tone doesn't just fool your body, it hijacks social proof. A mimic knows this. People trust the sound of certainty more than the presence of truth. That's why entire industries are built on voice, not value. So think about the voices you've obeyed, voices you've followed. The politician, the guru, the spiritual teacher, a coach, a mentor, who spoke in that slow, persuasive rhythm. You know the rhythm? Slow, persuasive, confident, resonance. That cadence convinces the body to belong when the body is run by a mimic, before the mind can say anything. That's how people you trusted, mentors, teachers, ended up rooting your life. They could say absolutely nothing, but the cadence wrapped emptiness in authority. A lot of words and nothing said. That's how mimic sells lies as wisdom. Tone is the counterfeit currency of truth. And it works because of survival wiring. When you hear authority in a voice, your body skips logic and defaults to belonging. Because mimic has us believe we have to belong. And we would rather die than not belong. The irony of it was we seek individuality, yet our moves, our actions show otherwise. That's when you know your operating system, well, it's one of the ways you know your operating system is mimic. Your body skips logic and defaults to belonging. If they sound sure, it must be safe to obey. But here's the funny thing about safety. Safety is mimic. It's not truth. Your Codex. You are the complete diamond. What's this idiotic thing called safety? It's the most idiotic thing, concept, construct for a trilogy of being, a human being, because we are Codex. Codex roots through this trilogy of being. What is safety? Safe is mimic's bargain with your nervous system. That is why you bought programs that never worked. Because you sought programs that gave you what you perceived as safe. That's why not everybody will collapse. Because mimic keeps you in the false construct of safety, which is fine. It's absolutely fine, nothing wrong with that. But then be prepared to live in the program. That program comes with aging, decline, decay, struggle, efforting, doubt. Well, that's fine. But that's not truth. That's not Codex. Codex does not seek safety. That's why you bought programs that never worked. And you buy programs over and over again. This one, this'll do it. This one, this'll do it. Collapse the mimic and you will never, ever, ever need a program again in your life. You will never need a coach, a mentor in your life. It's why you bought the programs that never worked, because you sought safety. But you are Codex, and no amount of running is going to stop that. No amount of mimic is going to stop that. Mimic will override it as long as you allow it. But your Codex is always there. It's why you listen to leaders who didn't live what they preached. Why you obeyed someone else's download instead of cutting your own mimic. We're living your Codex that roots through your trilogy of being, living your blueprint in wealth, health, vitality, and devoid of the programming of decline, aging, and decay, where everything roots to you according to the laws you issue from your blueprint body. Their tone hypnotized you. So let me say it plainly. The world doesn't run on evidence. It runs on sound. The body obeys tone. The crowd obeys tone. And the planet amplifies tone. And here's the breach. When your voice is still mimic, you don't just trap yourself. You broadcast counterfeit authority into the field. You keep reinforcing the very structure that deceived you. And that's why collapse is not optional. Collapse is the cut that deletes mimic's access to your mouth. Without collapse, you'll keep packaging emptiness in tones that sound like truth. With collapse, your voice stops asking for consent. It stops seeking permission, and it starts issuing law. And when Codex roots through your trilogy of being and you enforce law, when you speak law, you bend reality, you collapse mimic. And matter has no choice, no option, but to obey, because of the planet amplifies. Tone will always move the field. The only question is whose program is speaking through your mouth? Mimic or Codex? If your birthday comes around and you're speaking another year old or another year around the sun, if you're looking at the wrinkles on your face and saying it's aging, oh, it's that time. If you're looking at gray hair, it's wisdom. If you're buying into any of that, that's mimic. If you're efforting, struggling, working, that's mimic. I'm talking about working, not moving. They're different. When you live as Codex, rooting through your trilogy of being, you move, you don't work. So now you've seen how tone hijacks thought. You've seen how it hijacks crowds. But here's an even deeper fracture. When voice mimic repeats, it doesn't just pass through you, it becomes you. Voice mimic migrates into fascia. It is a loop. Fascia makes voice. Voice remakes fascia. That's the program. Voice doesn't just move through fascia. Fascia is mimic's archive. That part of your body that is fascia. Speak mimic long enough and your body carries it before you even open your mouth. And that's why you're tired. That's why your breath never drops. That's why aging looks faster than the years you've lived. Your body is not betraying you. It's obeying mimic. And collapse is the only delete. No more costume changes. Shifting from one identity to another. Shifting from one belief to another. Collapsing the scaffolding that holds the structure or the architecture of mimic in place, that holds the identities in place. Collapse is the only delete. And when I speak of fascia, it's not mystical, and it is not a metaphor. Fascia is the connective tissue that holds every cell in relationship. And when mimic lives in your voice long enough, the tissue encodes it as structure. And that's why you feel it in your posture. That's why your breath shallows. That's why your jaw carries tension. That's why your nervous system gets hammered. And you can't massage it away. You can't positive think it away. You can't meditate it away either, for that matter. You can't reframe it away. That's just another costume. They're not random aches or quirks in your body. They are mimic's fingerprints etched into your body. Speak in concession long enough, your chest collapses forward. Speak in apology long enough, your throat constricts. Speak in scarcity long enough, your breath never drops below your ribs. And this is not poetry. Codex is not poetry. This is programming. Fascia is memory. It remembers the tone you've repeated over and over and over. More faithfully than your mind ever could. And memory becomes a habit. Habit becomes default law. So every time you open your mouth, the body doesn't just carry a sound. It reenacts the structure mimic carved into it. And that's why fatigue doesn't leave you. Why the body looks older than the years you've lived. Why you feel depletion even when you sleep, even when you try to rest. And you're not tired because of stress. You're tired because mimic has been speaking through your fascia. And your body has been obeying false commands. Voice mimic is not just a sound problem. It's a cellular loop. Collapse is the only cut sharp enough to end that loop. Not breath work, not mindset, not affirmations. Collapse severs the counterfeit program. Collapse is the deletion. So what are you prepared to give up to delete mimic from your trilogy of being so that your codex can root through your trilogy of being, so that you can live your blueprint? Collapse severs the counterfeit program that Fascia has archived. And when mimic is deleted, the body doesn't just relax, it reroutes. Breath returns, posture resets, and vitality stops leaking. I urge you to hear this clearly. The body is not betraying you. The body has been obeying mimic, that's all. And the moment you collapse mimic's voice, Fascia obeys Codex, your Codex, instead. Your body is not waiting for healing. The healing journey, one of mimic's most magnificent weapons. Mimic. Your body is not waiting for healing. Your body is waiting for new law. And what actually changes when the counterfeit voice is deleted and Codex speaks through you? Resistance dies. Not because people get softer or nicer. It's because there's nothing left to push against. When your voice no longer bargains, the world stops arguing and stops pushing back. Obstacles stop looking like resistance and start resolving as logistics. The struggle that used to define your days simply thin. They thin. Not disappear, they thin. And they thin because you just issue law. You make commands and matter obeys. This is not mercy. That is consequence. Invitations replace persuasion. You'll stop selling. People will begin to show up with offers, opportunities, access without your asking. Not because you learned better marketing, far from it, but because your field is different and the planet matches frequency. When you speak law, law answers 100% of the time. Conversations shorten. Meetings that used to drag into debate end fast. Requests arrive clear and are either accepted or declined. There's no bargaining table because law is not negotiated. Law is not defended, it's not justified, it's not negotiated. It simply is. That's not cruelty, that is speed. It saves time, energy, fidelity. Your body stops leaking vitality, not because you rest more, because your body no longer obeys the counterfeit commands that drain you. Breath drops, posture steadies. You move with less effort, more authority. Your presence becomes a multiplier, not a tax. Visibility reroutes to consequence, not applause. You will be seen for result, not for story. Attention will come from a different engine, from people who obey frequency, who match that frequency, rather than those who trade in validation. This is what Codex does. It turns your voice into an instrument of consequence. This makes you subject to reality, and that reality answers law, your law. This is not nicer, it's not softer, it's not sharper, it just is. And people will either stop orbiting you or they'll match you. There is no middle. That is the field consequence you ask for. So, like classic example, recently once in a negotiation that should have lasted hours, I spoke one line and the room rearranged. They did what needed to be done, no persuasion, no follow-up, just law. And that is what a Codex voice does. Now, practical consequence, if you want, that rerouting in your life, not as theory, but as enforcement. There are two immediate doors. One, a 7-day audible law experience that starts on Monday, and it's the fastest way to destabilize the old program so you can feel Codex land and speak law. If you're in the Cosmic Tribe, you diarize it now. If you're not in the Cosmic Tribe and you want to join the 7-day experience, audible law experience, and the Cosmic Tribe, you can comment enforce Cosmic Tribe in the comments, and we will route the pathway to you. No calls, no funnels, no soft offers. Or to the vault, a structural enforcement for those who want program deleted at source. And at the vault level, we have 3 tiers. Tier 1 is initiation collapse, immediate collapse on contact, counterfeit program is cut, mimic is exposed and deleted at entry level force. This is for those who need the first rupture enforced. No therapy, no preparation, collapse is the product, short, sharp, non-negotiable, initiating into Codex law. Or there's tier 2, which is the full collapse and override enforcement. Collapse plus active override enforcement. Not only is mimic deleted, but structural enforcement ensures that the body, the being, the field reroutes. You are no longer just ruptured, you are now governed by your codex, your law. And that's for those who are ready to stop orbiting and live collapse as daily law. And then there's tier 3, vault enforcement. Planetary architecture, deep vault enforcement, structural reprogramming of blueprint, and entry into planetary architecture consequence. No longer just personal collapse. This is Codex law rooted through you as broadcast origin. You become part of the vault's planetary enforcement system, the highest tier of consequence available outside of retreats and direct Codex installations. It's important to note, this is not personal development. Do not come to me for coaching or mentoring. Do not come to me for resonance. You come to me for collapse and enforcement. Collapse the mimic so that your codex can route through your trilogy of being as the operating system, and you get to live your blueprint. These are not offers in personal development terms. It's a law line. Tier 1 ruptures, tier 2 enforces, tier 3 installs. And if you want vault lines after this broadcast, you can comment enforce tiers in the comment section, and we'll send the enforcement lines. No calls, no sales, just law. And if you would love to be reminded for when we next go live, or when I next do episode 2 of the Collapse broadcast, let me know in the comments and I can send you a link and you will get a reminder, or you can subscribe to the channel. My voice is not feedback, it is command. If your voice still asks permission, you're still being lied to. So welcome to the first episode, or episode 1 of Collapse broadcast. Collapse mimic voice. Speak law. Your voice bends matter. I'll see you next time.